Have you noticed your erections getting softer, weaker, or fading faster than they used to, even when the desire is still there? Most men over 50 think this is just age or low testosterone. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Erectile dysfunction often starts long before hormones crash. It begins when a hidden group of muscles deep inside your pelvis stop doing their job. These muscles are supposed to lock blood inside your erection like a natural valve, and when they weaken, firmness disappears. I'm Dr. Claire Monroe, men's health specialist for men over 50. And what I'm about to show you today can change the way your body responds, without pills, without embarrassment, and without complicated routines. Stay with me, because the real cause is not what you think, and the solution is surprisingly simple. Erectile dysfunction rarely begins with the penis itself. That surprises most men in my clinic. They come in saying, "Doc, something must be wrong down there." But when I test their circulation, their testosterone, even their nerves, the numbers aren't always the problem. What is failing is the system that controls blood pressure inside the erection. Here's the part most men never hear clearly. Your erection depends on tiny muscles inside your pelvis that act like a gate. When these muscles squeeze correctly, they trap blood inside the penis and keep it firm. When they relax too much, too early, or at the wrong time, the blood leaks out, and the erection collapses. Those are your pelvic floor muscles, and they get weaker every year after 50. Why? Because you sit more. You use your glutes less. Your lower back tightens. And stress keeps those same muscles stuck in the wrong pattern, either too weak or too tense. Both patterns destroy firmness. Let me give you a real example. One of my patients, Jim, 62, came to me embarrassed and angry. He tried supplements, pills, cold showers, warm showers, everything YouTube suggested. Nothing worked. But when I examined him, his pelvic floor wasn't firing at all. It was like trying to hold water in a bucket with holes. After 3 weeks of simple, targeted activation exercises, he looked at me and said, "I didn't know it was possible to feel 20 years younger in that area." That's the power of restoring the muscles that hold blood in the penis, not just the ones that let blood in. Here's the second thing you need to understand. Poor pelvic muscle function also blocks nerve signals. If the brain can't send messages fast and clear, the erection becomes slow, unreliable, or disappears under pressure. That's why some men can get hard alone, but lose firmness the moment they get anxious with a partner. The internal muscles fail to lock in the response. And here's the twist. You can fix these muscles at home. No equipment. No awkward appointments. Just 5 natural movements that retrain strength, blood flow, and nerve control, the same ones I use in my clinic. In the next part, I'll show you the first movement. It looks simple, but it switches on a set of deep muscles that most men haven't used properly in decades. And once those muscles wake up, firmness often returns faster than you'd expect. Most men over 50 are told the same story. If your erections are weak, it must be your testosterone. But that isn't the full picture. And for many of you, it's not even the main issue. Here's what's really happening inside your body. When you get an erection, 2 things must occur at the exact same time. Blood has to rush in fast, and your pelvic floor has to squeeze tight enough to trap that blood inside. Think of it like filling a water balloon. Water goes in. Your hand seals the top. If the seal is weak, the water leaks. That's exactly what happens with ED. The seal fails. Now here's the part doctors rarely explain clearly. Your pelvic floor weakens slowly, quietly, over decades. You sit more. You move less. Your hips tighten. Your lower back compensates. And the muscles that used to fire automatically simply stop working. This doesn't just weaken erections. It also slows nerve signals, the messages that tell your brain, stay firm, stay steady, stay in control. That's why so many men tell me, "Claire, I can get hard, but I can't stay hard." Or I lose firmness when I change positions. Or I get nervous and everything collapses. It's not psychology. It's not age. It's not testosterone dropping overnight. It's the pelvic floor losing its grip. Let me show you a real case. Mark, 58, a client of mine, came in frustrated. He exercised. He ate well. His testosterone was normal, but his erections were fading fast. When I tested his pelvic floor, he could only contract for 1 second before the muscles gave out. 1 second. That's not enough time for the body to trap blood during intimacy. After 2 weeks of targeted training, he held 5 seconds. After 6 weeks, 8 seconds. And he told me, my erections don't disappear anymore. They hold. They feel solid. That's how fast these muscles respond when you train them correctly. Now here's something else most men never consider. A weak pelvic floor doesn't act alone. It pulls the entire pelvis out of alignment, hips, glutes, lower back. When this happens, blood flow into the penis becomes uneven and inconsistent. The body can't deliver strong pressure, and firmness suffers. But the opposite is also true. When you restore strength, mobility, and awareness in the pelvic floor, the whole system wakes up again. Better blood flow, stronger nerve signals, more control, less stress. And this is where our first exercise comes in. It's simple, it's gentle, but it switches on deep muscles most men don't even know they have, the ones responsible for holding firmness from start to finish. In the next section, I'll walk you through the first movement step by step, and you'll feel exactly what's been asleep inside your pelvis for years. Before we build strength, we need to wake up the muscles that have been asleep for years. Most men over 50 don't realize this, but your pelvic floor doesn't instantly fail. It slowly disconnects from your brain, your lower abs, and your hips. This first exercise reconnects that entire system. Lie on your back, bend your knees, keep your feet flat on the floor, about hip-width apart. Let your arms rest at your sides. Now take a slow breath in. As you breathe out, gently tighten your lower stomach, just enough to feel your belly flatten slightly. Next, press your lower back into the floor. Feel the small space under your spine disappear. Your pelvis will tilt upward just a little. That small movement? That's the switch that controls your firmness. Hold for 3 to 5 seconds. Then relax slowly. This is the pelvic tilt. And even if it looks simple, this is the movement that reactivates the exact fibers that keep blood locked inside the penis during an erection. Here's why it works. When you tilt the pelvis correctly, your lower abs and pelvic floor fire at the same time. Most men over 50 lose that coordination. But when you retrain it, firmness improves not because of testosterone, not because of supplements, but because the blood-trapping mechanism finally works again. One of my patients, Greg, 59, told me he felt a deep pressure waking up after the first week. That sensation is your body remembering how to engage the right muscles, the ones responsible for staying hard, not just getting hard. Start with 10 to 15 repetitions. Each rep must be slow, controlled, and intentional. If you rush, you lose the benefit. If you feel even a small contraction inside the pelvis, you're doing it right. And if what I'm explaining is making sense, if you're a man over 50 finally connecting the dots about why firmness fades, now is a good moment to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next steps. Every lesson I teach is natural, simple, and built for men your age. Now here's the key point. This movement builds awareness, and awareness is the gateway to control. Most men can't feel their pelvic floor at all until they do this exercise consistently. But once the brain reconnects, every other movement becomes more powerful. In Section 4, we'll take this foundation and add strength using a position that forces the pelvic floor, core, and hips to work together in a way you've probably never felt before. This is the moment most men say, now I understand what real activation feels like. Now that your pelvic floor is awake, we move to the exercise that improves blood flow around the pelvis, the exact area most men over 50 lose flexibility and strength without noticing. This is the prone stretch. Simple on the outside, powerful on the inside. Lie face down on a comfortable mat. Slide your elbows under your shoulders, like you're starting a gentle cobra pose. Your chest lifts slightly off the ground. Your forearms stay flat. Your neck stays neutral. Now engage your lower stomach. Imagine pulling your belly button off the floor, just a little, and at the same time, gently tighten your pelvic floor. Not a squeeze, more like a light lift inside the pelvis. Hold that position. Breathe slowly. Do you feel that stretch in the front of your hips? That's the hip flexors releasing, the muscles that get tight from years of sitting. And do you feel a subtle contraction lower in the pelvis? That's your deep stabilizers turning on the pelvic floor, the lower abs, and the small muscles that control circulation. Here's the science, made simple. When the hip flexors are tight, they pull your pelvis forward. That weakens your pelvic floor. It also chokes blood flow to the penis, like bending a hose. This exercise fixes that. You open the front of the body while strengthening the muscles underneath. That combination improves blood flow, improves stability, and improves erection quality. One of my clients, Sam, 63, said he felt warmth spreading across the pelvis after the first week. That warmth is circulation returning, the foundation of a firm, steady erection. Hold the stretch for 20 to 30 seconds, then rest for 10 to 15 seconds. Repeat it 3 or 4 times. As you get stronger, aim for 45 seconds to a full minute. What you're rebuilding here is mobility plus engagement plus awareness, the 3 elements men lose fastest after 50. And here's something most men don't expect. This stretch also improves nerve signaling. When the hips relax, the nerves to the penis fire more clearly. That means faster erections, stronger erections, and better endurance. I want to know something from you. Comment number 1 below if you've ever felt tightness in your hips, groin, or lower back and didn't realize it might be affecting your erections. You'd be surprised how many men discover this connection later in life. In the next section, we combine everything you've learned so far into a strengthening move that supports the pelvis, activates the glutes, and forces your pelvic floor to hold steady under pressure, the exact control you need during intimacy. Now we move into one of the most important strengthening movements for men over 50, the bridge abduction. Why this exercise? Because it targets 3 muscle groups that decide whether your erection stays firm or fades under pressure: your glutes, your pelvic floor, your hip stabilizers. When these muscles work together, your pelvis becomes stable, your blood flow becomes stronger, and your ability to hold firmness improves dramatically. Let's begin. Lie on your back again. Bend your knees. Keep your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Arms by your sides. Now press your heels into the ground. Lift your hips up until your body forms a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. This is the bridge position. Hold it there. While you keep your hips lifted, gently push your knees outward, like you're trying to widen the floor beneath you. Then bring the knees back in with slow control. That's 1 rep. Now here's what's happening inside your body. When you lift your hips, your glutes fire. These muscles are the powerhouse of pelvic stability, and they often weaken faster than men realize. When you push your knees out, you activate the hip abductors, the muscles on the outside of your hips. These stabilize the pelvis during movement, including during intimacy. And when your glutes and abductors fire at the same time, your pelvic floor naturally contracts to support the entire structure. That means stronger, more stable erections, the ones that don't collapse when you change positions or increase intensity. One of my patients, Daniel, 66, struggled with what he called shaky erections. He didn't lose desire. He didn't lose sensation. He simply couldn't maintain firmness when his hips moved. Within 4 weeks of this exercise, he told me, "Everything feels solid again. My body actually holds the erection instead of losing it." That's the power of pelvic stability. Start with 8 to 10 repetitions. Push your knees out for 2 to 3 seconds each time. As your strength improves, build up to 15 to 20 reps. If you want more challenge, add a resistance band above your knees. This movement does something pills can't. It retrains the muscles responsible for controlling firmness, pressure, and stability, the 3 pillars of performance. If this is helping you connect the dots, and you want more natural solutions made for men your age, hit the like button so more men over 50 can find this video and get the help they deserve. In the next section, we shift to a movement that builds coordination, breath control, and pelvic endurance, the exact combination you need for staying power during real-life intimacy. At this point, your pelvis is more stable, your glutes are firing, and your circulation is opening up. Now we build something most men over 50 lose without realizing it: endurance and control. This exercise trains your deep core and pelvic floor to work together with your breathing, the exact coordination you need to stay firm longer and avoid losing control too soon. Let's begin. Get down on all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. This is the tabletop position. Keep your spine neutral, not arched, not sagging, just straight and relaxed. Now take a slow breath in. As you breathe out, gently pull your belly button toward your spine. Your stomach should flatten, not tense up. At the same time, lightly lift your pelvic floor. Imagine stopping the flow of urine for a brief moment. Hold that contraction for 3 to 5 seconds. Then release slowly. That's 1 rep. Here's why this exercise matters more than men expect. During intimacy, your body goes through subtle shifts, hip movement, breath changes, pressure changes. If your core and pelvic floor can't stay connected, firmness fades quickly. The body loses rhythm. The mind loses focus. And performance becomes unpredictable. But when you learn to coordinate your breath with your pelvic floor, something this exercise trains perfectly, everything becomes steadier, stronger, and easier to control. One of my clients, Henry, 64, said he finally understood why he used to lose firmness halfway through. His breathing and pelvic muscles were out of sync. Once he trained this coordination, his staying power doubled, and his confidence went up with it. Here's the science in simple words. When you exhale and contract, the deep core supports the pelvis. When these muscles work together, pelvic blood flow stabilizes. And when blood flow stabilizes, erections stay firm longer. Start with 10 to 15 repetitions. Hold the contraction for 3 to 5 seconds each time. As your endurance improves, increase to 7 or even 10 seconds. And here's a small tip that helps men progress faster. Shift your weight slightly forward for a few repetitions, then slightly backward. This activates different fibers of the pelvic floor and makes the entire system stronger and more responsive. Over time, you'll notice something subtle but important. Your pelvis will feel lighter, more alive, and easier to control. That's your body reconnecting with itself. In the final section, I'll show you how all 4 exercises come together and reveal the last movement that most men skip but is essential for lasting firmness, better blood flow, and full body coordination. What you've done in this routine isn't just exercise. It's a full reset of the system that controls your erections, your confidence, and your sense of masculinity. Let's bring everything together. First, you woke up the pelvic floor, the muscles that keep blood locked inside the penis. Most men don't even know these muscles exist until they try that first movement. Now you do, and your body is already responding. Second, you open the hips and restored circulation around the pelvis. That simple stretch clears the traffic jam created by decades of sitting, stress, and tight muscles. Third, you built stability, the foundation of firmness. Without pelvic stability, erections collapse under pressure. But you're no longer in that position. And finally, you trained control and endurance, the exact ingredients men over 50 lose first, often without realizing it. When all 4 elements work together, something powerful happens. Your body begins to remember its natural rhythm. Blood flows easier. Nerve signals fire faster. The muscles that once disconnected reconnect. One of my patients, Louis, 68, told me this after completing the routine consistently for a month. It's not just the firmness that came back. It's the confidence. I don't worry anymore. My body listens when I need it to. That's what I want for you. Not perfection. Not unrealistic promises. Just control, awareness, stability, and the confidence that your body can still rise to the moment at any age. Here's what you must remember. These exercises work because they treat the root cause, not the symptoms. They restore the system that actually holds your erection, not just the one that creates it. Do them daily. 5 to 10 minutes is enough. After 2 weeks, you'll feel a difference. After a month, you'll notice real changes. After 2 to 3 months, most men tell me they feel 10 years younger in their pelvic health. And this is only the beginning. If you're a man over 50 who doesn't want to face this alone, subscribe and stay with me here. I release new guides every week, all natural, all science-based, all created for men your age. In the next video, I'll show you the nighttime habits that silently weaken your pelvic floor and drain your morning strength, and how to reverse them in less than 10 minutes. You won't want to miss it. This video is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always talk to your own doctor or urologist about your personal health.